Can you imagine a person who doesn't have this ever falling in love with you? Unless he or she is a saint, the answer is a pretty obvious and hurtful no. It's a tough pill to swallow. Take a look at this beautiful woman. She could have been mine. I just never got the chance to tell her how I felt. I had to walk away. I had to turn my back on someone I felt a real soul-level connection with because I have genital herpes. I never wanted to see that look of, ew, gross on her face. I couldn't stomach it. And as much as it hurt me to ignore her, it was better than telling the truth. Maybe there's someone you are crushing on or falling in love with. But guess what? It ain't happening. So close. So far away. And that's one of the most excruciatingly painful feelings in the world. To know what you want is within arm's reach, but you aren't allowed to grab it. Because you have genital herpes. How the heck are you supposed to tell them about your disease? How does that naturally come up? It doesn't. It's not the possibility of rejection you're afraid of. It's the probability of being totally embarrassed and treated like a leper that keeps you from putting your heart on the line. But it doesn't have to be that way. Buckle your seatbelt because you're in for an eye-opening, wild ride leading you back to being you again and having the freedom to fall in love. Of course, it goes without saying. What I'm talking about is really, really personal. Please let me assure you, everything I'm going to be discussing in this video is coming from a place of genuine compassion and the knowing that I can really, truly, honestly help you pull a complete 360 on the problem happening in your pants. My goal in this free video presentation is to debunk the lies that the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry is telling you, so you feel empowered to naturally overcome genital herpes and step back into the unstoppably sexy, confident you who is totally within your reach without damaging your health and happiness to get there, like what often happens when you take those side effect-ridden antiviral drugs. Can I get an amen? Okay, really feel how hearing those words affects you. Genital herpes. Just hearing the name of this sexually transmitted disease is enough to send shivers up your spine, isn't it? And for you, they aren't just words. They're your reality. A lifetime prison sentence to shame, bad memories, regret, and always torturing yourself by imagining what could have been. The love you could have found, the children you could have had, the happiness you could have shared. Genital herpes are two words that have heartlessly defined you as a human being. But I'm here to tell you, your herpes nightmare is just a blip on the radar in the story of your life. Genital herpes isn't who you are. Of course, it's hard to feel that way when every single aspect of your life is affected by this vicious virus. You're not alone. Millions of people just like you have been condemned to a life of utter shame and labeled as being unlovable by the disease-free population. I know, I've been there. I have good news though. You're on the brink of getting your life back right now just by watching this free video. I'm going to tell you how I and countless others have naturally overcome genital herpes. Mind you, I don't just mean cutting down on the amount of breakouts you deal with. No. This free video presentation is about becoming 100% genital herpes breakout free, including 2 incredibly effective and ridiculously easy tricks that make your body an unlivable home for HSV2. Sound like a pipe dream or a sleazy attempt to make you believe you can actually wake up from the genital herpes nightmare? Well, get over it. You absolutely can wake up. This brand new solution is not an unachievable dream. It's not snake oil. It's not some supplement pitch. And it's definitely not more worthless antiviral drugs that just try to put a band-aid on your symptoms. My name is Ross Matthews. I have an incredible story to share with you about my own HSV2 nightmare and how I took it upon myself to quit listening to those blasted naysaying doctors and supposed experts who are so convinced that genital herpes is, well, forever. An incurable reminder of one night in the sack. I say that with no judgment. One of my best friends contracted HSV2 with a woman he had just met, and 4 years later, they're very happily married. So it's not always this monumentally regretful moment. Usually it is, just not always. And no matter what circumstances resulted in you contracting HSV2, it's okay. You're okay. Everything is okay. The solution is coming. Of course, I have to warn you up front. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not a medical professional. I'm someone who had a problem and refused to accept the lifetime prison sentence I received by my doctor way back in 1996. First though, I need to set the record straight. Because the moment you got diagnosed with genital herpes, you unknowingly and unwillingly became a part of one of the biggest medical lies ever told. Even worse, the lie was given to you at one of the most fragile and vulnerable moments in your life. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You went to your doctor, a Planned Parenthood or some sort of clinic, with fear and genuine horror festering in the pit of your stomach, making you feel physically sick. You felt alone, emotionally naked, with a head full of noise. Heck, you felt small and insignificant, beating yourself up for making a fleeting, heat-of-the-moment decision, landing you in that blasted doctor's office for an embarrassing examination of your crotch. Tell me if I'm wrong. I dare you. Tell me, pulling your pants down to show a perfect stranger your most intimate body part wasn't one of, if not your lowest moment. You can't, right? They say death makes your life flash before your eyes. Sadly, you're now painfully aware that death isn't the only circumstance strong enough to trigger one of those looking back at your life moments in time. When something is wrong with your junk, whether you're a man or a woman, nothing feels right. Nothing. Consumed with regret, you're probably thinking to yourself, this can't be happening. Please, 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 there's no way this is happening to me. Please, God, I'll do anything. Just give me another chance. Sure, now you believe in God. Anything to make you feel like there's a chance for redemption, a chance to make a different decision, a better decision. But you can do basic math. You slept with someone, maybe you made the mistake of not using protection, and not too long after that fateful, probably underwhelming romp between the sheets, you were unceremoniously ushered into an alternate universe in a life-transforming instant. When those future rewriting sensations first hit you, like a freight train, burning, itching, redness, painful blisters and lesions. Sure, you try to ignore the fact that your crotch is on fire, but you quickly get real with yourself and realize, oh my God, this is really happening. It's not long before you found yourself back in the doctor's office, waiting for your test results. This can't be good. Otherwise, they would have just assured me over the phone everything's fine, you tell yourself. Your heart was racing, your palms sweating. You knew the worst was coming, but you still hoped for a second chance. I'll never be that stupid again, you kept repeating to yourself like a mantra. Then your doctor walks in, and bam! You hear those absolutely haunting 4 words. You have genital herpes. There are few circumstances in your life that have the kind of surreal impact of being told you have an incurable STD, the shame, the stigma, the realization that you might never get the chance to fall in love and discover your own happily ever after. Those 4 words totally altered the course of your life in every possible way, am I right? Devastation doesn't even come close to describing your state of mind, because in that moment you fully believed, my life is over. Whatever was gonna happen in your life is a thing of the past, memories that will never be. You just can't imagine any future lover will be able to see you for who you are. Instead, they'll see a leper, someone who has something they don't want, someone with genital herpes. And what does your doctor say? Your only choice is to take antiviral suppression drugs and deal with the breakouts as they happen. Talk about a life sentence with no chance of parole, right? Actually, wrong. The truth is, if you believe you're destined to live with genital herpes symptoms for the rest of your life, you've subscribed to a lie that's only true if you accept the archaic treatments provided by Western medicine and greedy pharmaceutical corporations. In fact, if I'm being totally blunt, everything Big Pharma and your doctor has ever told you about HSV2 is totally bogus. It turns out the life sentence you received when the doctor said you have genital herpes wasn't the end to life as you know it after all. There are countless people who have actually permanently reversed HSV2. And there's no reason why you can't join that constantly growing list of survivors who have risen above the shame, regret, devastation, and stigma of being diagnosed with HSV2. The catch-22 is you've got to let go of the conditioning that your doctor programmed you with if you want to rewrite your future and never live in regret about one stupid hormone-driven decision again. It's not your fault that you were convinced genital herpes is an unescapable reality. You looked to your doctor for truth, facts, and guidance, but you were betrayed. We all were. So what are the natural secrets to living totally breakout free? I'll tell you in just a second, but first I need to explain how I personally discovered the truth about genital herpes, the natural secrets they never told you. As I said, I'm not some celebrity doctor on TV pitching an ancient superfood. I'm just a guy who has been in the trenches and had to figure out a solution before I went absolutely mad. So here's my quick story in a nutshell. At just 20 years old, it was my first time away from home. I definitely did my fair share of exploration in those days. There was a bit of sleeping around, I'll just leave it at that. Now, I can't actually pinpoint exactly who I caught HSV2 from. Not good, I know. One morning, I simply woke up with some nasty sensations I couldn't possibly ignore. That's putting it lightly. I felt like there was a tiny arsonist who started a fire in my pants. My willy was really burning, itching. It was red. God, was it red. That wasn't even the worst part. My body was aching all over, and I was overwhelmed with massively debilitating fatigue. I tried to ignore it. I tried to just go on with my day, hoping it would blow over. But it didn't take long to figure out I couldn't stick my head in the sand. It was getting worse and worse, quickly. And then I noticed something no man ever wants to see appear on his man maker. Blisters. They appeared out of nowhere. It was one of those moments that left me absolutely breathless, like somebody punched me in the stomach and knocked the wind out of me. The fatigue and body aches were getting worse, too. I was hardly functional, and it interfered with everything, my work, my relationships, my life. So I went to see the doctor, and boy, oh boy, that was embarrassing. Actually, I take that back. Embarrassment doesn't cover it. It was downright traumatic. I told my doctor, I have a problem. It's in an area I don't really want to show you. Of course, moments later, there I was, trousers down around my ankles, getting felt up and examined by my doctor. My penis shrunk up so much that it barely existed, no laughing. As my doc was giving me a look over, she said, I'm pretty confident what it is, just based on the appearance and symptoms. But I need to swab it and send it into the lab for the confirmation. In the meantime, no sleeping around. If it is what I think it is, you're very contagious. Ominous, to say the least, right? 6 days later, I was called back into the doctor's office for my results. Without much ado or hesitation, she got straight to the point. Ross, you have genital herpes. She said with this kind of stoic expression on her face, and in a moment of ignorance, I replied, I don't even know what genital herpes is. So you're going to have to explain it to me. She followed up, this is not something you're going to deal with just once. It's going to come back again and again and again, likely for the rest of your life. Your love life is also going to change. It's your responsibility to tell women you're HSV2 positive, because they can easily get it from you when you've got a breakout. Holy bleep, I thought to myself. Life as I know it is over. And I was just getting started. I'm just 20 years old, I belted out. I was in complete and total shock. It was so much to take in all at once. For me, being told I had genital herpes was the equivalent to death. Here I am, a man in my sexual prime, told my willy needs to be permanently retired. Great. Fantastic. I told my doctor, as I was compulsively itching, I obviously can't function like this, so what do I do to get rid of the symptoms? She put me on a cyclovir, which is an antiviral suppression drug, and yes, it did clear up my breakout, which provided me with a reprieve. After the symptoms went away, and I had a little time to digest this epic turn of events, I thought, maybe this thing won't come back. Maybe the doctor was just telling me the worst case scenario. No such luck. 3 weeks later, yep, it came back. All of it. The burning, itching, redness, bumps, chronic fatigue, body aches, the whole shebang. It was very, very, very difficult to deal with. The reality of knowing, I gotta go through this again? What a nightmare! It consumed me. This cycle went on for a long time, and I was having some seriously painful side effects to the drugs, too. I'm talking about one life-stopping upset stomach after the other, and mind-stabbing headaches that made clear thinking a thing of the past. I mean, it was practically impossible to focus on anything but the discomfort. Physical pain aside, the worst part of this disease, at least for me, was I knew I couldn't engage in any kind of sexual activity while I was having these breakouts. And I thought, why would any woman risk infection, even if I didn't currently have a breakout? Duh! Of course they wouldn't. No intelligent woman would ever take that chance. It was devastating, because if I did meet someone I wanted to be with long term, I would have to explain to her that I'm diseased, that genital herpes is a part of me. The embarrassment and stigma of explaining to somebody I have herpes is just horrendous. So I didn't have any relationships for quite some time. I was too afraid to tell them about my situation. In fact, there was one woman I really fell for, but I had to make myself scarce and become distant when things looked like they were gonna go to the next level. I couldn't risk her finding out about my little secret. It was horrible. I never felt so alone, and it certainly wasn't what I wanted. But what other choice did I have? None! I also couldn't talk about my problem with anyone. Living with a bunch of male roommates, I was deeply afraid they'd find out about my disease. If that happened, my embarrassment would spread like wildfire. Everyone would know, so I couldn't be me, if that makes sense. I had to withdraw myself from acting like I used to, making me miserable, depressed. It was a period of self-destruction. I was that pissed off. I started drinking excessively. I needed to, quite honestly. It was the only thing capable of taking my mind off things. Then I'd get another breakout and then drink some more. At the time, I didn't know alcohol would make the breakouts more frequent and acute. It became this vicious cycle of drinking, outbreak, medication. Maybe 3 weeks between breakouts, then more drinking and medication and more breakouts. I finally reached the point where I realized, this is ridiculous. I can't keep living this way. There's got to be something that could prevent this from continuing. In 2002, 6 years after being diagnosed, I started doing tons of research about what HSV-2 is and what I could do to prevent the outbreaks naturally. I needed to understand what helps the virus flourish and what I could do to prevent it from taking over my body. I discovered I was basically doing everything wrong. Why didn't my doctor tell me any of this, I wondered? Why was taking antiviral drugs her only solution? So I compiled my research, what to eat, what not to eat, what to avoid altogether to prevent outbreaks. I also discovered something called oxygenation and how to easily increase it inside of my body. Why? Well, when your blood is constantly infused with oxygenation, it displaces any form of virus and disease, including HSV-2. I'd seen top biochemists like Anthony Pichetti, who invented the time-release method, say, disease cannot exist in a well-oxygenated environment. Did you hear that? Can't exist. I'm not talking about invasive, expensive ozone therapy either, like I'm sure you've read about or even tried. I isolated 2 extremely quick and effective ways to massively increase oxygenation, topically and internally, so the virus isn't allowed to replicate itself. This 2-pronged approach deals with both the cause and symptoms of HSV-2. Huge deal, right? You're damn right. My research didn't stop there. Slowly but surely, I developed the most comprehensive program for fighting genital herpes from the inside out. And wow, when it was all said and done, I felt truly blessed. For the first time in a long time, my breakouts went from every few weeks to every couple months to every 4 or 5 months until I became totally breakout free. I've been breakout free since the end of 2004, 8 years after being diagnosed in 1996, which is why I've come here today. It's not okay that doctors and big pharma aren't helping you overcome a lifetime of genital herpes breakouts. They're giving you drugs that are proven to actually suppress optimal immune system functioning, just barely treating the symptoms. But you have to treat the cause, not the symptoms, to finally overcome HSV-2. And everything you need to naturally get there is meticulously broken down for you in my guide, The Truth About Genital Herpes. In the guide, I'll reveal 2 things you can do every day to oxygenate your blood and break down the protective protein shield that surrounds the herpes virus. This helps inhibit HSV-2 from replicating itself and driving it into remission, or should I say submission. However, that's far from everything I cover. In The Truth About Genital Herpes, I'll provide you with years of research, trial and error, and what ultimately helped me and countless others become totally breakout free. Discover how the gut is intimately intertwined with your genital herpes breakouts. After all, your immune system is largely built around the gut, especially the small intestine, so when bad bacteria, or Candida, is allowed to run rampant, it damages the gut's inner lining, making it impossible to fight HSV-2. A damaged gut lowers oxygenation, increases acid pH, and suppresses optimal immune functioning. That's not even the tip of the iceberg either. I'll reveal the one nutrient that has been proven to single-handedly suppress genital herpes breakouts. It'll blow your mind. What amino acids do you want to get more of, and which ones do you want to avoid? Knowing the answer will totally change how you look at your diet and make you immediately realize, oh my god, I've been feeding the virus with stuff I thought was good for me. What are 3 things you can stop doing today to live HSV-2 breakout free? The answers will not only make you feel better and look radiant, you'll quickly realize how easily beatable this nasty virus truly is. I'll talk about a common product found in millions of pantries that natural health practitioners commonly use to combat HSV-2, inside and out. I'll also reveal the breakout-free supplements you can purchase at your local health food store, proven to elevate the antioxidant protection and nutritional assistance your body is craving. What 5 antifungal, antiviral, and antimicrobial essential oils can speed up the healing of your breakouts while helping you prevent future symptoms. The answer is both inexpensive and exciting. I'll even give you a herpes-free diet plan. I'll tell you what foods to avoid that are known agitators, and I'll give you a list of powerful, delicious, detoxifying foods that will never leave you feeling deprived. I will also give you a list of awesome snacks that are healthy and effective in combating HSV-2. There are a ton more life-changing insights, guidance, and recommendations that make The Truth About Genital Herpes an absolute must-own. The guide is ideal for anyone dealing with the totally treatable but extremely horrifying symptoms of genital herpes. Now, it's not the lifetime sentence your doctor and big pharma made it out to be. Continuing on that last thought, here's a quote directly from the guide that acts as a mission statement for The Truth About Genital Herpes. We want you to batter down the infection's defenses and dissolve the virus's protective protein coating. Think of it like a war. The other side is heavily armored. Our goal is to use artillery that can get underneath HSV-2's armor, breaking down its defenses and creating an environment where it can no longer exist. Sound about right? Matt said, wow, this really does work. I never imagined I could stop using antiviral meds. I've had no signs of herpes for over a month now after 18 months of continual breakouts. I feel like I've turned the corner. Thanks, Ross. The information you taught me has been invaluable. Taylor Jackson sent this one in. I just thought I'd write to say a huge thank you. I've been suffering with continual outbreaks for the last 4 years and nothing I tried worked. You have helped me to realize that all the things I was doing was wrong. I never knew how easy it was for the virus to flourish in my body. I followed the steps in your program, changed my lifestyle, and I have not had any more breakouts. I just can't believe it. Your book is now my Bible, and I will continue to follow your advice. And for the first time in ages, I'm feeling confident about dating again. Thank you so much, Ross. And Marie Forrester said, I've been suffering chronic outbreaks of HSV2 almost every 14 days. It had completely ruined my life. After reading your book, not only did I begin to fully understand my condition, I had the tools to tackle it head on. I could not believe how many things I was actually doing to help the virus flourish. No wonder I was having so many outbreaks. After following the advice in the Truth About Genital Herpes, I can now happily say that I have been outbreak-free for several weeks. I can't remember the last time I said that. Not only that, I feel great. I have so much more energy and I feel so much more positive about life. Thank you so much. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you believe it's possible to naturally beat HSV2? Seriously, do you? It's a big question. You'll notice that above this video, it says the HSV2 lie exposed. I admit it sounds a little cheesy, but there's a reason I said that beyond grabbing your attention. It goes like this. There are literally millions of people suffering from genital herpes, taking their side effect-ridden antiviral drugs, dealing with endless outbreaks, who believe the virus defines them. It's not true. It was never true. It's a misconception that needs to go away permanently, just like the virus itself. The Truth About Genital Herpes gives you the option to make a different decision, one that makes you feel like a whole, complete, confident human being again, rather than someone constantly dealing with the internal emotional conflict of feeling good enough because of being infected with this vicious STD. HSV2 isn't who you are. I know I said that earlier, but it bears repeating. It's something you really need to hear. Keep in mind, genital herpes is a virus that thrives under very specific conditions. So when you change your body's internal environment with the right foods and natural remedies, HSV2 can't survive. I mean, literally can't. I've been breakout free for 10 years, and I receive testimonials all the time telling me how the Truth About Genital Herpes customers have also created a life after genital herpes. You can too, no doubt. That being said, I want to make sure getting your hands on the guide is a no-brainer. That's why I'm offering my 60-day No More HSV2 Breakout Guarantee, which means if you aren't living HSV2 breakout free after following my program, if you haven't shed every last residual sense of shame, regret, and self-torture, I want to give you your money back. I know this program works. For me, it's a miracle. You deserve the same chance. I hope you know that. I also want to make absolutely certain you're taken care of. Once you purchase, I'll give you my personal email where you'll have access to me. I'll answer any of your questions to help you guarantee you're achieving maximum results in record time. I want nothing but total transparency on your personal path towards regaining your dignity and passion for life. Are you ready to see yourself as a whole human being again, instead of someone with genital herpes? Right now you're standing at a fork in the road. One direction is a continuation of what you've been dealing with since the day you first felt horrified by that initial outbreak. The other direction gives you the freedom to fall in love, have fun, and let people see you for who you really are. That's the decision I've put on the table. There's no reason you have to move forward in life as this HSV2 version of yourself. And getting there, becoming genital herpes breakout free, isn't pie in the sky. If everything I've said still feels difficult to believe, it's just the residual effects of being inundated with the lies spread by pharmaceutical companies profiting off of your pain. Heck, if I was making billions of dollars a year, I'd make sure the lie that kept the money rolling in remained as real as possible too. There's a lot on the line for corporations to keep HSV2 sufferers on their antiviral drugs. But you can see the alternative. A future that isn't all doom and gloom. A future where you get to live your life with the same hope and anticipation for greatness that you did before the virus stuck its claws into you. Click on the button below to realize that future. And remember, you're totally covered by my 60-day no more HSV2 breakout guarantee. You've got everything to gain, like getting your life back, and nothing to lose. Well, except for genital herpes, of course. Beat the lie and join the outbreak free survivors right now.